They say memory is a funny thing. Sometimes it's a river, flowing gently. Other times, it's a dam waiting to burst. For me, it was a flood. Ever since I started talking about my grandma, about her stories, about the shower rules, about Mr. Longfingers, the floodgates have opened. The darkness of my childhood is starting to clear, revealing things I had locked away for decades. Things I wasn't ready to face then. Things I'm terrified to face now. My wife thinks counseling is helping. She thinks talking about it is healing. But she doesn't understand. Some memories aren't meant to be found. Some doors are meant to stay closed, because now I remember the other story. The one about the cupboard. And more importantly, the one about the special knock. Before we unlock this memory together, if you are brave enough to listen to these stories from the ThreadVerse, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss what happens next. Now, let's go back to when I was 7 years old. It was a cold winter evening. I was tucked up in bed in my parents' first house, in the small back room that always smelled faintly of damp wood and old carpet. I had been crying. I don't remember why, maybe a scraped knee, maybe a harsh word from my father, but I remember the taste of salt on my lips and the stinging of a cut on my lower lip where I had bitten it in frustration. Grandma was there, perched on the edge of my bed. Her presence was always a comfort, a warm blanket against the cold world. She wiped my tears with a tissue, her touch gentle but firm. Then, she stood up and walked across the room. She stopped in front of the cupboard, that cupboard. Even now, thinking about it makes the hair on my arms stand up. It was a tall, imposing thing made of dark oak, standing in the corner like a silent sentry. I hated it. I feared it. At night, I would lie awake, staring at its brass handle, convinced that something was waiting on the other side, just waiting for me to close my eyes so it could turn the knob. I watched Grandma through my tear-blurred eyes. She leaned her wrinkled cheek against the wood of the cupboard door, closing her eyes. Her lips moved silently, whispering words I couldn't hear. "Grandma?" My voice trembled. "Grandma, what are you doing?" She didn't answer at first. She just stood there, communing with the wood, with the shadows. The room felt heavy, charged with static electricity. Finally, she turned around. A small, secretive smile played on her lips. She walked back and sat at the foot of my bed. "Did I ever tell you about the special knock, sweetheart?" she asked, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. I shook my head, sniffling. "No." "Maybe you're too young," she teased, glancing at the bedroom door as if checking for eavesdroppers. "It can be wonderful, you know. It can show you worlds beyond your imagination. But it can also be dangerous." "Don't go, Grandma," I pleaded, grabbing her cardigan sleeve. "Tell me. What's the special knock?" She reached into her pocket and pulled out 2 boiled sweets, mint humbugs. She handed one to me. It was our secret. Mom would have been furious, but Grandma didn't care about rules. She cared about magic. "The special knock," she began, unwrapping her own sweet, "is an old trick a friend taught me. A witch, some might say. It turns a door into a window. A gateway." My eyes widened. The mint burned pleasantly on my tongue. "You see, this house, this town, it's not the only place," she continued. "There are other places. Layers. Like an onion. And if you use the special knock on that cupboard door, now that I've whispered the magic words to it, you can see them. You can see the lunar plane." "The lunar plane?" I echoed. "It's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see," she said dreamily. "Endless stars. Colors you can't name. But you have to get it right. That's the important bit." She leaned in closer, her blue eyes locking onto mine. The playfulness was gone. Her face was serious, almost stern. 7 knocks. That's the key. 7 knocks on the door, no more, no less. Then you open it. But listen to me closely, boy. If you get it wrong, if you knock the wrong number, especially if you knock 13 times, she paused, looking back at the cupboard with a genuine frown of unease. Whatever you do, do not open the door. If you knock 13 times, do not touch that handle. No matter what you hear on the other side. You don't want to open a gateway to the Blacklands. What's the Blacklands? I whispered, feeling a chill slide down my spine. Grandma stood up, kissed my forehead, and turned off the lamp. You don't want to know, she whispered in the dark. For the next week, that cupboard became the center of my universe, a black hole of fear and curiosity in the corner of my room. I tried to ignore it. I tried to play with my toys, read my books, live my life. But I could feel it. A magnetic pull. A heavy, static energy radiating from the wood. It was like an itch under my skin, a constant, low-level hum in my ears whenever the house was quiet. I stopped sleeping. Or rather, I stopped sleeping peacefully. When I drifted off, the dreams came. Sometimes they were beautiful, floating through nebulas of light, weightless and free. The lunar plane, I assumed. But then the tone would shift. The light would die. The stars would blink out one by one, and I would find myself in the dark, thick, suffocating blackness. A darkness so absolute it felt like a physical weight pressing against my eyes. In these nightmares, I was standing in a vast, open space. I couldn't see anything, but I could hear the wind howling around me. A lonely, desolate sound. And beneath the wind, something else, breathing, heavy, ragged breathing coming from the dark. Not one person. Many. Surrounding me. Waiting till I would wake up screaming, my pajamas soaked in cold sweat, the taste of ash in my mouth. I didn't understand the dreams then. I didn't know what they were showing me. But every time I woke up, my eyes would dart to the cupboard door, checking to make sure it was still closed, still latched. It was a Saturday night when everything went wrong. And my friend, Tim Jacobs, was staying over. Tim was difficult. He was a month younger than me but seemed years older. Taller, broader, with a permanent smirk and a cruel streak a mile wide. He was the kind of kid who pulled wings off flies just to see what would happen. We were sitting in my room, the clock ticking past 10 p.m. Mom and Dad were downstairs watching a movie, their muffled laughter drifting up through the floorboards. "This is boring," Tim groaned, slumping in my desk chair. He flicked my desk lamp on and off. Click. Flash. Click. Darkness. When are you getting a TV? Or a PlayStation? Your house sucks. Mom won't let me, I muttered, feeling the familiar shame burn my cheeks. Your mom, Tim said slowly, flicking the light again, is a... He used a bad word. A word that made my stomach turn. He stared at me with his cold green eyes, daring me to challenge him. I looked away. I looked at the cupboard. I needed a distraction. I needed to impress him, to stop him from being mean. And in my desperate, 7-year-old mind, I made the worst decision of my life. I know a secret, I blurted out. Tim stopped flicking the light. What secret? A magic trick. A witch taught me. If I do a special knock on that cupboard, we can see a different world. Tim snorted. You're lying. That's baby stuff. No. Really? I stood up, my heart racing. It's dangerous. Really dangerous. If we get the number of knocks wrong, if we do 13, it opens a door to a scary place. I saw the spark in Tim's eyes. It wasn't fear. It was challenge. It was recklessness. Prove it, he said, standing up. Let's do it. Okay, I said, my voice trembling. But we have to be careful. Only 7 knocks. 7. I walked towards the cupboard. The air in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. The static hum in my ears grew louder, drowning out the TV downstairs. I stood in front of the dark wood. I could feel the pull again, that headache-inducing pressure behind my eyes. I raised my fist. Knock. The sound was dull, swallowing the silence of the room. Knocked. I felt Tim standing right behind me, his breathing impatient. Knock. Was that a sound? A faint whistle from inside the cupboard. Knocked. My heart was hammering against my ribs. Knock, knock, knock. 7. I stopped. I had done it. The whistling sound was real now. A low, harmonic hum coming from the other side of the wood. It sounded like wind blowing through a canyon. It was beautiful and terrifying. My hand reached out for the brass knob, trembling. I was going to see it. I was going to see the lunar plane, and then, I felt a shove. Tim pushed me aside, his face twisted in a sneer. That was too slow, he hissed, and before I could scream, before I could grab his arm, he raised his fist and hammered on the door. Bang. 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 6 more knocks. Hard. Fast. Angry. 7 plus 6.13. The whistling stopped instantly. The room went dead silent. The hum of the TV downstairs vanished. The wind outside stopped howling. It was as if the whole world had held its breath. Tim laughed. See? Nothing happened. You're such a liar. He reached out and grabbed the doorknob. Don't. I screamed, lunging for him, but it was too late. Tim turned the handle. The latch clicked, a sound that echoed like a gunshot in the silent room. The door didn't swing open. It was sucked open. A gust of wind blasted into the room, but it wasn't air. It was cold. Absolute, freezing cold that burned my skin instantly. It smelled of ozone, stagnant water, and something rotting, and the darkness. It wasn't just a dark cupboard. The back of the cupboard was gone. The shelves were gone. Beyond the frame of the door, there was an infinite, swirling void of black fog. Tim stopped laughing. He stood frozen, his hand still on the knob, staring into the abyss. Tim. I yelled, grabbing the back of his pajama shirt. Close it. Close it. But Tim didn't move. He couldn't. He was staring at something in the dark, and then, I heard it. We both heard it, from the depths of that infinite blackness, a sound emerged. It wasn't the beautiful whistling of the lunar plane. It was a low, guttural chittering. Like insects. Millions of insects. Click, 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 hiss, and then, footsteps. Heavy, wet footsteps slapping against unseen ground. Running. Running towards the open door. Tim. I shrieked, pulling him with all my strength. Tim turned to look at me then. His face was pale, drained of all blood. His eyes were wide, pupils dilated to pinpricks. They're coming, he whispered. They're hungry. A hand shot out of the darkness. It wasn't a human hand. It was long, too long, with gray, translucent skin that looked like wet paper. The fingers were multi-jointed, snapping and clicking as they grasped the door frame. Then another hand. Then a face. I can't describe the face. My mind refuses to hold the image properly. It was just wrong. No eyes. Just a mouth. A vertical mouth filled with needle-like teeth. It shrieked, a sound that shattered the light bulb in my desk lamp. Tim screamed. I screamed. I threw myself backwards, dragging Tim with me. We tumbled onto the carpet just as the thing lunged from the cupboard. It swiped at the air where Tim had been standing a second ago, its claws tearing deep gouges into the floorboards. Slam it. I yelped. I kicked the door with my foot. It slammed shut with a deafening boom. The latch clicked. Silence returned to the room. The cold vanished. The smell of rot faded. We lay there on the floor, panting, staring at the closed cupboard door. From inside, there was a scratch. A slow, deliberate scratch against the wood. Scritch, 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 and then, a knock, knock, just one. We didn't sleep that night. We sat with our backs against the far wall, watching the door until the sun came up. Tim went home the next morning. He never spoke to me about it again. In fact, he stopped speaking to me entirely. He changed after that night. The smirk was gone. He became quiet, withdrawn. My parents never noticed the gouges in the floorboards. Or maybe they chose not to see them, but I know what happened. And I know why I get so scared when I hear knocking at night, because Grandma was right. There are other places. And some doors should never be opened. I still live in fear of the number 13. I count my steps. I count my knocks. I count the seconds in the shower. These memories, they are a burden. But maybe sharing them helps. Maybe telling you keeps the door closed for just a little longer. If you have a story like this, or if you've ever heard a knock that you couldn't explain, let me know in the comments below. And remember, check your cupboards tonight. Check the locks, and whatever you do, never ever knock 13 times. This has been ThreadVerse. Stay safe. And sleep tight.